Hello everyone, welcome again to another of my videos. So here in this video I'm continuing my series on programmable programmable visual elements. So in my previous video I have demonstrated how to work with PHP and um, I mean what was that? PHP and uh, the CSS, PHP and CSS, controlling CSS variables with that was PHP and SVG. I'm sorry. So uh, in this video I'm going to work with Vue.js and SVG because you don't need PHP to do this. All you need is JavaScript and JavaScript and SVG is good enough for you. So why did I choose? Another reason I chose Vue.js and Vue.js is good for Vue.js goes well with SVG because uh, number one reason is that Vue 2, this is not Vue 3. Vue 2 can be accessed with just CDN over here. This is a static CDN, and you can put the script in there, and everything will work just fine. Uh, and what does Vue provide us? Vue just provides us with many things like watches in this video. In this project, mini project, we're getting help from the watchers. So what are watchers? I've already demonstrated here. Like this, I've written the title of this video. The topic of this video in the text area over here. You can see this update is occurring as I am updating the text area. So this is the model. I mean, this is a V model. What is V model? Like, let me explain a little bit. Okay, first let me explain the main thing here. So I'm going to explain how this is occurring, how this is taking place. Before that, I just want to go over some basic things about Vue.js because some people might not be acquainted with it. So all you need to do is define get an instance of Vue.js, like this new Vue is VM, and you give the element root. See, I have mounted the Vue instance in the div with the ID of root. So if I say anything outside of this div, that is outside of the scope of this Vue instance. So uh, then you have to provide some state. What are states? Data and states are same thing, like variables to a class. This is a Vue instance, like this is a Vue class, so these are properties. So data, state, properties, all are same thing. So I have instantiated over here the radius of the circle to be 45, and in my template I've set that radius. You can access the Vue properties with double curly braces. You can have access to the Vue properties directly in your DOM. See, I refresh the page and you see the 45. Initially it will be 45 pixels. So this is what is happening. And another thing is that how this thing is changing. This thing is changing with input type. I said there's an input area like this. This is also a V model. Why this V model? Like the text model is V. Why this is called model? Because I am giving input to the DOM from my end through this HTML element, because that's why this element is a model. And so I have defined the V model here to be radius or rad And in my watchers, what I need to say is that watch over this rad model, and do and implement this function. What is the function? Take the change in the model as R, I mean whatever comes input to the uh, rad model to be R, and set it to vm.r. I could have said this vm is the v instance name. I could have just said this dot r, same thing. This dot rad equals to R. So this property is dynamic. This is changing live dynamically. So in Vue.js and React.js, many people get hard time working with Vue and React. I mean, they just can't get over the idea. I mean, the workflow of these frameworks, because you in these frameworks you change the state, and the state drives the updates in your DOM. Not like jQuery, like you grab a element by jQuery and directly manipulate it within your code. So not like that. You first thing you must change the state, and that change will be reflected in the DOM, and you can control how that reflection takes place with logics. You will define the logics here with you can say like computed methods, computism, cultures. All these are basically logics and functions that will help you control the change or update to the DOM. And you can just directly put your Vue or JavaScript variables into the DOM like that, double curly braces. So this is how things work. And I guess there is all I mean, I've said all there is to it. I mean, there's nothing much to explain, as you can see. The most important thing is that I've said like v bind R is rad. I mean, see this. Let me explain. These two things are input and output. So I'm giving input here in the V model. I'm getting output over here. So I need to tell to the Vue instance that hey, this is dependent variable. This is not independent. I can just omit and just say the code. I mean, this same thing. Vbind and if I say just the colon, it's the same thing. So if you say colon in your Vue template or Vue code, that means that this is a bounded attribute. This attribute of the SVG element is bound to the input somewhere else. It might be V model, or it might be just an instance. So this is an output XY, dependent variable and independent variable, two kinds of variable. This is output or dependent variable. This is bound to the input of V model. So there is an input and output. So what do you know? A function deals with input and output. So that's why we can define functions over here, methods and functions. So I've defined an anonymous function. This is just changing the state over here. That's all is there to it. Nothing fancy happening here. This state is just changing with the change of the range input, and I've said like max 150 pixels. That is all there is to it. Input and output. The output is bound. So anywhere you see this colon, that means that is bound to input somewhere else. Input and output. So I guess those people who are not familiar with Vue.js have got some idea about it. See how many lines of code? Just 50 lines of code. Just 50 lines of code, and you, I guess you have grabbed the basic workflow of how to work with Vue.js. Another thing before ending this video, another thing I want to demonstrate is that this the Vue property two-way binding of Vue property. So if I say 3 kilometers, that maps directly to 3000 meters. If I say 1500 meters, that sorry 1500 meters, that maps to 1.5 kilometers. So these two input boxes are bound to each other, two-way binding. So how this is happening? Because there's two watchers, meters and kilometers. There are two watchers. What they're doing, they're taking a value and they're setting this value to be kilometers over here. I mean, they're making this. They are making this dynamic from the front end from with the view model. See, view model. There are two view models, kilometers and meters. So these properties are dynamic. All these are dynamic properties bound to the model, bound to the models over here. So, and as this is happening, as this is updating parallelly, what is happening parallelly? Uh, Another update is happening to the another state. I can add more state updates. Sorry, I can just write more code over here. I'm just remember what I said. You change the state, and the DOM will be auto updated. So you have just changed the state to be. I mean, if you convert kilometers to meters, you need to just multiply with 1000. And what is happening in the meters watcher over here? You just need to divide it by 1000 and just say val equal to meters. Just update the meters state, and in here you just divide the value by 1000, because if I say 1500 meters, that is 1.5 kilometers. It needs to be divided by 1000. So I guess I have explained everything. I will not make this video longer. So goodbye for now.